Yeah, my name is Andy Ostrowski. I'm the candidate running for the 11th Congressional District. We happen to be standing in my congressional district right now. It's a congressional district. This seat currently being held by Lou Barletta. And I know we have people from all over the state, but can I get a show of hands from people who actually live, and you might not, a lot of people don't even know, who live in the 11th Congressional District. And I'd love for any of you that I haven't met, please find your way up to me. I see two folks at least I've never met before. I'd like the opportunity to talk to you. I've met a lot of you. I'm glad to know that I've been getting around and meeting a lot of you. My background, I'm from Dauphin County, Susquehanna Township. This district is one of the odd-shaped districts that goes from Shippensburg down in Cumberland County the whole way up through Wyoming County, and takes a big piece of Luzerne County, Carbon County, and 6 other counties in between. So it's been difficult getting around and actually finding central locations where I can meet people in the district, but it's an absolutely beautiful district, and I'm real happy to be running. I love the people that I met, and I'm really looking forward to working hard here through November 4th. Sure.
There we go.
Okay. My background is in the area of civil rights law as a civil rights lawyer. Fought a lot of battles in the courts over the years. I've taken some lumps personally along the way and know a lot of other dedicated, conscientious, strong attorneys who have. And I talk about things on the campaign trail that not a lot of candidates talk about. And the one issue that I do talk about is the courts, this third co-equal branch of government that we have in this country that is run largely in secret. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear about it. They don't want me talking about it, and they say, "You're really going to talk about the courts?" Well, yeah, we are going to talk about the courts. And we got a perfect example of what has happened in Ferguson, Missouri these past 2 weeks of what goes wrong when the courts break down. That issue, it was 50 years ago this year that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed. And that was passed in the midst of civil rights demonstrations, violence in the streets, police incidents all over this country. And here we are 50 years later, and what happened in Ferguson, Missouri looked a lot like what was happening 40 and 45 and 50 years ago. And I submit that the reason that that is still happening the way it's happening is because it's a breakdown in the courts. If the courts were doing their jobs, this way these issues fall in terms of racial divides would not happen the way they do. These laws are passed, and the courts are supposed to implement them and effectuate the intention of the legislature and create better social climates where people get over these prejudices and these fears and insecurities, and that has not happened. And this is not a time to do a full and complete policy speech on the issue of the courts, and I've written about it a lot, and I'm going to continue to write about it, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. But that's fundamentally what happened. And the other aspect of this, from a court perspective, is this excessive abuse of power, governmental power and authority. We are incrementally losing our rights in this country, and the rights of the government and the government officials are constantly being expanded. And we as Democrats, or liberals so to speak, have heard for years and years about these so-called liberal activist judges. We have a problem with a band of conservative activist judges in this country that are constantly expanding the power, authority, and rights of the government in contrast to the people. We're losing our rights individually in this country because we're losing access to the courts. And we need to get the courts back. And I know that's not the most exciting political topic for people to talk about, but it's something that I have a lot of experience with. I've dedicated a lot of my personal passions to it throughout my career, and it's a problem that really very seriously needs to be addressed. So what happened in Ferguson, Missouri gives us a context to study these issues and to see what happens when the courts break down, and that's what happened there. Now, shifting to the political aspects of this campaign, I'm running against Lou Barletta. And I've only met Lou Barletta once, and I have no personal knowledge of him. I'm familiar with his politics. I've been studying the politics. And his politics of fear and demagoguery and division needs to stop. I'm going across this district, and it is just absolutely astonishing to me the number of people that want to talk about this immigration issue and this issue with these children that were refugees in recent weeks. They're acting as if the Susquehanna River is the Rio Grande River and we're being invaded from the south. And it's playing into fears, and it's playing into insecurities, and it's an issue that is distracting voters from the real harm and the real cause of their ills in this country. And we need to get people past talking about those issues. We need to beat this demagoguery of this Republican Party and this Tea Party message. You know, the message might be sound in principle. Some of the principles of constitutional rights and individual liberty and freedom are sound principles. It's the way that that message is being used and who it's being used to appeal to that I object to. In fact, it was really, I'm not a real politically active person. This is my first ever run for any office of any nature. I've never been active in party politics. But what went on in that 2012 election with the messaging that I heard and the Mitt Romney 47% of our country are takers, I objected on moral grounds to that, and I am strongly opposed to that. I'm strongly opposed to that as a way to lead this country. There is a band of people in this country in the Republican Party who are voting against their interests every election. Those are the people that we need to start to reach out to, and we need to start to bring into this messaging that we're going to talk about. And when I say they're voting against their interests, yes, I believe that they are being persuaded through dishonest politics to vote against their economic interests, but I also believe that they're voting against their societal interests, and they're voting against their moral interests, and they're feeding into this climate that is creating division and hostility and separateness between people instead of unifying messages of working together and bringing people together. So I talk about these things on real basic policy issues, moral issues, principled issues, justice, freedom, peace, love, kindness. Those are the things I want to talk about as a politician. And I don't have any problem talking about that. We'll talk about the policy issues as they come up, but we're going to talk about creating a more just country in this country. And we're going to start with the courts. I need a lot of help, folks, so you people in the 11th Congressional District, find me, spread my word, spread my name, let's get this message out. I have a group of folks called the American Rebirth Tour. It's headed, the figurehead, and actually the leader of the organization is a fellow by the name of Jesse Epps. He was Martin Luther King's designee to go down and settle the sanitation strikes in Memphis in 1968, was with Martin Luther King on the day he was shot, and was with Martin Luther King on the day he died. He and I have become close personal friends. I have an invitation to go down to Ferguson, Missouri, and talk about some of the things I talked about today. I thought actually I was going to be going today, but it didn't get organized for today. I'm not sure when we're going to do that. But I'll be appearing with my friends from the American Rebirth Tour, and we're going to get out in the 11th Congressional District, and we're going to bring this message of unity, of justice, of peace, of freedom, of liberty, of kindness, and caring and compassion. That's the message we're going to try to bring to your doors. I'm not going to have Lou Barletta money in this campaign. Well, you never know. I mean, things work in mysterious ways. If I need it, it'll come. But I've got a couple pairs of shoes, and I got strong hands to knock on a lot of doors and shake a lot of hands. And I'm very, very committed to what I'm doing. I really want to represent these people of the 11th Congressional District, and I hope I can count on your support. Thank you all very much.